Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie Rose, and I have been off for a few days because I've been kind of going through a dark night of the soul, and I didn't really understand what that meant, what that term meant when I started this journey, but boy, do I now. It's very, very interesting because, I've been depressed for most of my life, and prior to my awakening, I was depressed the majority of the time, I would say. And it came to feel familiar. I knew that I was depressed. And I tried many, many different things to alleviate the symptoms. And nothing really stuck, nothing really worked. And I'll talk more about that probably in another video. I'm not going to go into it now. But Dark Night of the Soul feels similar in a lot of ways. But there's a big difference because when you go through an awakening, there's this time where, or at least when I went through my awakening, I should say it that way, because everybody's awakening is different. It comes along in different ways and different points in life. But when I went through my awakening, there was this time of just like bliss, peace, serenity that I had never experienced before. Everything had very profound meaning, and I could see the meaning through things. It's hard to explain, and I have not really gone into it on this channel yet because it was difficult to explain. And there were times when I was going through a little bit of spiritual psychosis, and fortunately, I had a lot of mentors who kind of guided me through that process to keep me from really like skyrocketing into insanity. Um, and eventually, and during that time, I felt so connected to spirit. Like, it was like there was no doubt in my mind that there is this divine source and that it was flooding through me and within me. And I felt so connected for months. For months, this connection just was very profound and very strong. And it has begun to taper off over the last few months. And when it first started to happen, it knocked me into my first dark night of the soul because I thought I must be doing things wrong because Source has left me. And it's so sad now that I know more because Source can't leave you at all. Source can't leave. It's always with you. It's always in you. It is you. It is everything. So you're always connected to it. But there was a different feeling when I felt truly connected. And so it broke my heart the first time it happened because I felt so alone. And I thought, well, what is the meaning of all of this if I'm, trying so hard to heal myself and do the right thing and follow this journey and become a better person, like overall, like just completely rehabilitate my whole lifestyle and everything about me to be the person that I'm meant to be. If What was the point of doing all that if I'm just going to be left to just the way I was? And the ego is so tricky in those times. It tries to convince me that I am alone and that nothing, that it was all in my imagination, that it never happened. And that nothing has changed, that I haven't really changed anything about myself, or that I'm just kind of the same person that I always was. And that dang voice telling me that, like, really knocked me down a few pegs. And I just kept having to get myself back to a place of humility and understanding that I'm never alone, and just continuing the reconditioning of my mind to a better, higher frequency. And so it's happened to me a couple of times in the past few months, where I would have this dark night of the soul and feel disconnected. And sometimes it was my fault. There were things that I would do, like playing video games too much at night will definitely do it. Or binge watching television, or eating processed foods regularly. And I do still eat them sometimes, but I've gotten a lot better about it, just choosing more healthy options. But those kind of things will definitely disconnect you from spirit. And, you know, the whole point of a spiritual awakening is to get you healthy, and like mind, body, and spirit healthy. And so doing things that are unhealthy, that aren't good for you, will definitely set you back a pace. But there's been times where it's happened where there wasn't anything. I was doing everything I was being asked to do and requested to do, or everything I felt like I was, because it's kind of hard sometimes to know exactly what the path is. And that's when patience comes in. And that's what this most recent one has been. And it was kind of spurred on by a lot of let me be honest here. I was starting to see more news come across my feed, more politics, and I really only use YouTube. I don't use any other social media. I stopped all that. But on my feed for YouTube, I started to see more and more of kind of political stuff come across, and the more that I clicked on it, the more that I saw, because the algorithm. And then the more that I saw, the more I wanted to research it, and the more that I wanted to better understand what was going on. And it kind of threw me for a loop. And so the past 2 days, I've been really, really careful about what I click on and what I read. I've started taking some time away from news. I know that in my heart that if there is something that I need to know about that's going to affect me, I'm either going to find out about it by word of mouth, or it will find me, because spirit's got my back, and my spirit team will for sure let me know if there's something I really need to look into. And they were not leading me to this. This wasn't like divine guidance that kept popping up. It was like I kept clicking on it. It was me that was doing it, me creating this space where this stuff could just continue to come into my life. And so, and I'm sure we all know, if you're watching this, around September, what I'm talking about. It's almost impossible to stay away from. And I'm not saying that people should stay away from it, but what I'm saying is that it is harmful. And for me, it caused me to go into a dark night of the soul. And I even had one day of immense depression, which I haven't had in a very, very long time, in months. It's been almost 9 months now. And so it was a little scary, because I'm thinking, and this is the ego talking. I'm thinking, I've failed, and spirit has left me, and I've failed all my tests, and they don't need me anymore, and I'm not being called for anything anymore. And what I've come to discover is whenever I get back on the path, for one thing, and stop doing the things that I know are harmful to myself, I start to feel spirit more. And I start to feel that peace and that serenity come back in. I do not stop praying. I never stop praying. Even if I'm praying, please just connect with me. Let me feel peace. I will feel it. Even in the times of the dark night of the soul. And here's the thing that's really upsets me about the ego. It makes, and the ego and the pain body both conjoined and worked together to make me want to stay in that depression day. I pretty much refused to do anything that was good for me. Even knowing, like feeling like I've got to get up. Like I even felt, it was so interesting. In the middle of it, in the like deep depression, I'm sitting there and I had started playing video games. And there I am stuffing my emotions. There I am not wanting to feel what's going on. I felt a spirit come over me, and it felt like a jump start. Like it felt like, those defibrillators? It felt like a defibrillator had zapped me. Not painfully. It didn't hurt at all. It was just like jolts of energy through my body. And I did get up and I did some stretches. I turned the video game off. So it did work. I did drop back into the depression again because the ego and the pain body had gotten me. They had gotten a hold of me. And so I was just kind of locked in this state of wanting to feel better, but at the same time wanting to stay depressed and mire myself in this just what's it all for nihilism. And fortunately, I've learned a lot of tools to help knock me out of that, so it doesn't last. Like I really feel that that's what it was that was causing my depression for all those years. I just didn't know there was anything I could do about it. I thought that I just had to feel that way. Like I was just broken and there was really nothing I could do to fix it. But it's so amazing now because I have a whole toolbox, and from like different mentors, different books, and different spiritual channels here on YouTube that have led me to be able to have that toolbox that every time I go into that nihilism, I can get back out of it. It is a struggle. It's like climbing out of a pit. But I can do it. And so the past couple days, what I've done to get myself out of it, and hopefully this will help you too. If you're ever in a dark night of the soul kind of nihilism feeling. So the first thing I did was I realized that I had gotten back into the habit of scanning news feeds and looking at the headlines and sometimes reading the news. And there's been a lot of shootings and a lot of just violence and anger going on. And I have to take a step back from it. That kind of stuff is not going on in my direct life. If it were to happen in my direct life, then I would for sure face it. But it's not really serving me to be reading about it and feeling fear or anger over anything. That's the ego. The fear and the anger that comes from the ego, and it had convinced me to go back into that habit of scanning those headlines. So I stopped doing that, and every time I catch myself accidentally doing it, because it's now become a habit again that I have to retrain my brain to stop doing, I do. I'm retraining just like I would a puppy. Um, just giving it something else to do, reoccupy with something positive, read a book, work on self, questioning, like deep questioning myself. Why am I continuing to look at this? And if there's a reason that I need to look at something, that reason will come to me. But most of the time, there's not. There's no reason for me personally to be investing my time and energy into something that I cannot control and I cannot help with, that I can't assist with directly. And so that's the first thing I did was I stopped swiping on those. I stopped scrolling, doom scrolling, basically. The second thing I did was in my YouTube feed, which is the only social media that I use. I hold on, I'm in a roundabout thing. Those things always make me a little nervous. So the second thing I did is on my YouTube algorithm. I started retraining it to choose more healthy topics, mostly on self-help and self-growth, and some comedy. I needed a little bit of laughter, and it's encouraging myself to be enjoying life more. And then the third thing that I did was I had a dream last night that there's a YouTube channel that I started following pretty recently, and I will link her in the description. I'll link her channel in the description. She is an oracle reader. I guess she is a tarot reader, but I would say she's more like an oracle because she's a Anunnaki priestess. And I've been kind of following her. And although I haven't read the Book of Inky, I've listened to her read it or read most of it anyway. And although it's not necessarily my path right now of what I'm studying, like as far as history and mythology and just divinity in general, it's not really my path at this moment. I do find it interesting, but what I really love is that she is the real deal. She is really kind and definitely seems to be really carrying the message of Jesus or Yeshua, of what it actually is, and or what the message he actually brought for us. And so she's like really on point. And I've listened to her tarot readings before and resonated with them, even without it being personal for me. But I had a dream last night that she gave me a tarot reading. And when I woke up in the morning, I was saying, Anunnaki priestess, Anunnaki priestess. And so I was like, okay, I've got to maybe reach out to her. Well, it just so happened that she went live today, and I managed to get on the live. And it just was one of those like spirit things where it just like popped up at just the right time. And she gave me a reading, and it was so on point. And it was basically confirmation of the same things that I've been told and the messages that I've been given personally through meditation, through my own tarot readings, for myself. And it was just confirmation that even though the spirits aren't really actively guiding me at the moment, I am not really needing that at the moment. But I'm still on the path, and I'm still doing the right things. I know the things that I need to do. And when I fall off of keeping up with my health and my mental health, my body health, my spirit health, when I keep on that path, we're building something. We're building something really amazing, something that is going to really change my life and change the lives of others. And I don't know what it is yet. I have no idea. I'm still figuring this out. I'm really, really early on in my spiritual journey, but I'm excited to find out, and I'm excited to do the hard work and to get through the emotions and the lessons that are necessary for me to get to that point. Um, and it's not even so much getting to that point. It's like I'm still on the journey, and embracing the journey that I'm on right now, with it's very, very divine feminine centered. I've had messages from goddesses, um, from divine feminine spirits, and it has just been it was so nice to have that confirmation from someone else. Um, so it really was profound for me today. And so those three things, if you are going through a dark night of the soul, there's a lot of other things you can do, and I highly recommend, searching out other channels that can tell you things that will help you get through it. The first thing is stop doom scrolling. Make your life small and just focus on the things that are nearest and dearest to you. And you'll see within hours, minutes sometimes, that your life just becomes so much more peaceful. Second, to work on your algorithm and curate your algorithm to just feed you the stuff that is really, really good for you. And then trust spirit in that too, that they are trying to help guide what comes to you. But if you're clicking on a bunch of stuff that isn't good for you, that's letting the ego and the pain body control things, and that will affect your algorithm too. So being careful of what spirits you're actually letting into your algorithm. And then third, to reach out to someone else, to look for assistance in the form of, well, for me, it was a tarot reader, but other people that can guide you, or even just to give you confirmation that you're on the right path, or how to get on the path if you deviated. And something that I've also kind of I'm working on too, that is my next step to keep this going, is to get back on my regimen of walking every day. I haven't really been walking as much as I should, and eating well and working on health and really grounding, getting in nature more, making sure that I am well grounded through this process. So anyway, I love you all so much. And just remember, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, it doesn't last forever. It's like onion peels, like layers of an onion. You're just peeling it away, and you'll get to another one, but you'll get through that, and they last less time, and they're less difficult to get through the more that you do. And so just know that you will get through it if you're in a dark night of the soul. And I hope y'all have a great day. I love you all.